An Arizona family-owned business since 1948 with more than 750 employees headquartered in Tucson and distribution centers in Phoenix, Flagstaff, and El Paso. Khalil offers 24-hour fountain service, vending, and cooler equipment to restaurants, business offices, and malls. Khalil's brands include soft drinks, waters, teas, sports, lifestyle, and energy drinks. KhalilBottling.com.
Thanks for watching Arizona PBS, a viewer-supported community service of Arizona State University.
Tickets are now available for the annual Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism Luncheon, held Thursday, October 19th at the Sheraton Grand Phoenix. Join media industry and community leaders in honoring award-winning co-anchors and co-managing editors of the PBS NewsHour, Judy Woodruff and the late Gwen Ifill. To learn more or to purchase tickets, call 602-496-0482 or visit cronkite.asu.edu/luncheon.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World. Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
I thought I knew most of what was worth knowing about the war, and suddenly I didn't.
Something was happening that was profound, that was irreversible.
What was it all about?
We just tried to believe that this was the right thing to do.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Deanne Griebel, now with Moores & Cabot Investments, serving investors since 1890, proudly supports quality programming on 8 Arizona PBS, 480-725-9602.
Hospice of the Valley, medical, social, and spiritual care for patients nearing end of life, and support for their families. A not-for-profit community hospice, HOV.org.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Lawmakers and dreamers alike wondering, could a deal on DACA be coming soon? We continue our coverage on the now rescinded program.
Plus, delegates from across the U.S. are trying to force Congress's hand and change the Constitution for the sake of a balanced budget.
And police who respond to mental health emergencies and the people who have to call 911 in the first place get some support and training.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Lysandra Marquez.
And I'm Blakely McHugh. Thank you for joining us. Has President Trump made a deal on DACA? That's been the question in Washington today after the president had dinner last night with top Democratic leaders. Many wondered if a deal had been made that included a border wall agreement, but leaders insist it was just a discussion.
It was interpreted by some that we had a deal on the bill, but that wasn't on the package. That wasn't the case. We had an agreement to move forward.
We agreed that the president would support enshrining the DACA protections into law.
President Trump tweeted this morning saying no deal was made on DACA at this moment, though he said he has said he supports congressional action to protect dreamers. Trump insists massive border security agreements would be needed as a part of any new deal. Here in Arizona, dreamers worry they're being used as bargaining chips by leaders on both sides of the aisle.
He made this problem. He didn't have to end DACA. He chose to end DACA. He created this problem, and now Democrats are so willingly to negotiate with their lives at the expense of the rest of the undocumented community, and it is unacceptable.
Those concerned about their status attended a workshop through Dream Zone ASU there. They could speak with attorneys and other organizations to help them stay in the U.S. Sydney Eisenberg was at the workshop as word came of the possible deal. Sydney?
DACA recipients and allies came together to learn more about their options. However, not even word of a possible DACA agreement could soothe people's fears over the future.
Until the legislation actually comes out, until there's something to be voted on, all these things are very much up in the air.
It is a troubling time for DACA recipients and their families.
A lot of my students might not know how to verbalize that they are extremely anxious, that they're extremely stressed, that they're feeling lonely, because for a lot of these students, this is what they're used to, right?
Dream Zone ASU held a DACA workshop last night to try and ease some of that worry. The workshop broke down deadlines and even featured a student panel. DACA allies were also welcomed and given a mini workshop as to how to assist DACA recipients and their families. After the event, attendees were able to receive free consultations from immigration lawyers, as well as information from other organizations assisting with DACA-minded students. It was then that President Trump announced his plan with top Democrats for an agreement on DACA in exchange for heightened border security. Ruben Reyes, director of American Immigration Lawyers Association, was not comforted by the agreement.
Hopefully there is something done. It's not just a stalemate, and we're all here to witness the removal of these amazing men and women who bring so much and are citizens in all but paperwork.
Congress has less than 6 months to come up with a plan for Dreamers. Dream Zone ASU has not announced any other DACA workshops. However, they say that they may announce more in the next coming weeks. In the Media Center, Sydney Eisenberg, Cronkite News.
This is Congress's prerogative, so Congress needs to act and do this on a permanent basis.
That was Senator Flake weighing in on DACA from the Council of Foreign Affairs in Washington. And Republican Representative Andy Biggs issued a statement that reads in part, "I also disagree that the focus of our efforts should be on creating yet another amnesty program. It would be a mistake to repeat the past with mere promises of actions to be taken in the future. Instead, Congress should prioritize full enforcement of our immigration laws, eliminating incentives that drive illegal immigration, and fully funding a physical border wall."
An Arizona pastor who planned a fast in support of DACA is continuing his efforts in the nation's capital with a slightly different tone. Reporter Fraser Allen best explains from our Washington bureau.
I only did 1 day solidarity fast because there is a lot of work to be done now, and so I have to try to keep a clear head.
That work has shifted from defending DACA, which President Trump said he will eliminate, to getting a vote on the DREAM Act. The same Methodist groups that occupied the streets are taking to the halls of Congress.
All of this is based in the United Methodist building with physicians, advocates like Reverend Anderson and others from Arizona right across from Capitol Hill.
From a modest base on the main floor, they plan their approach. Randy Mayer, like Anderson, is from Sahuarita.
Going to a meeting right now with the staff of Senator Flake to continue to push for the Clean Dreamer bill.
Reverend Anderson is clear that a quieter approach does not mean slowing down, just shifting gears.
And we've gone to the Trump Hotel and Department of Justice and the ICE headquarters, and when it comes to Congress, we're in a sense in a different timeline in terms of how we put pressure on these elected officials.
The Reverend and DACA recipient Valeria Ruiz have a face-to-face with Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin. Still, Ruiz says none of these negotiations take overt protest off the table.
Doing a fast again or mobilizing all 800,000 documented folks here to D.C., then that's definitely what we're going to do.
For now, Anderson plans to continue to push for the DREAM Act, stopping occasionally for meals. Fraser Allen Best, Cronkite News, Washington.
Cronkite News is dedicated to covering DACA and its impact statewide. You can find Cronkite News updates throughout the day on Facebook and Twitter. And for our full multimedia coverage, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
A historic meeting is happening at the state capitol. States are working on rules to convene a constitutional convention to force Congress to adopt a balanced budget amendment. Cronkite News reporter Holly Bernstein is live at the state capitol. Holly, what are the chances of the states forging a change to the U.S. Constitution?
There hasn't been an Article 5 Amendments Convention since the adoption of the Constitution. Now, one Arizona delegate is saying that they are only 7 states away.
For the first time since before the Civil War, states are trying to force Congress's hand. Delegates from across the country gathered at our state capitol to determine the rules for trying to change the U.S. Constitution to require a balanced budget.
I think there are about 4 or 5 of them that all have to do with
once you reach the number of 34 Article 5 applications, how quickly and smoothly could the states move to organizing and putting on such a convention?
Only 7 more states are needed to initiate an Article 5 convention of states, but the process to get them on board could happen within the next 2 years.
The balanced budget amendment organization is working those states. A lot of grassroots movement going on in those states.
According to Daniels, while there's been no discussion at the convention of actual budget amendment language, Allen says such an amendment would tell Congress that they must balance their budget.
I just said to Senator Smith, I said, isn't it going to be an interesting process to see how all the delegates come together and try to figure out how to write an amendment for the Constitution?
Work is still being done, but everything is expected to be finalized within the next couple of days. Live at the Arizona State Capitol, Holly Bernstein, Cronkite News.
Today, Superintendent of Public Instruction Diane Douglas headed to the ACES, a school for special needs children in Tolleson. Following the recent release of AZ merit test scores, Cronkite News asked Douglas how charter schools like the one she visited compared to public schools.
And I haven't looked at the exact breakdown. If you're asking about the AZ merit scores, I haven't looked particularly, had the chance to dig into charter versus traditional district. But we will be taking a look at those and see. But, you know, really what the charter schools and our traditional district schools, it's about offering the opportunities that the parents think are best for their children.
Douglas spent the rest of her visit meeting children and learning about the school. The ACES was selected as a School of Excellence by the National Association of Special Education Teachers.
Helping people in the middle of a mental health crisis can be a struggle for police officers. That's why the Scottsdale Police Department is working with therapists and the public to improve its response. Cronkite News reporter Emily Richardson takes us inside some special training.
Last night, Scottsdale PD held a mental health crisis planning meeting. Natalie Summit, a member of the Scottsdale PD crisis team, says that they hold these to make sure people know what will happen when they call 911.
Dan and I have an interest in making sure that the public is fully informed about what will happen in a typical police response, so that they can make an informed decision about which direction they want to go.
They explained to the attendees that it is important to discuss when your family will call the police, because once they do, the police will respond in the way that they see best.
Look at others. When do you call? When is it safe to do so? That's why this is so important to have that family discussion and have that discussion with your client.
The moment you make a call to 911 and the operator answers, 911 was your emergency, you have just invited the police department and all their policies and procedures into your home.
It is also important for the caller to know how to properly call for help.
When the 911 calls, it's time to make a call. You gotta be very specific what's going on. The best information possible, the most you can give us.
The main focus, however, was to inform the audience of the importance to ask for a crisis intervention trained officer like Dan Antrim when calling for help in a situation involving someone with mental illnesses.
So for me, it's a real passion because my heart's drawn to those that are just different than me. The mental illness doesn't make a difference in what they are as a person. The stigmatization right now of people with mental health and illness is very severe, it's very real. So I like to try to reverse that as much as possible, showing that treating everybody equally and equitably.
So there is recovery for folks who have mental health concerns.
In Scottsdale, Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
143 million Americans' personal information is now vulnerable after the Equifax data breach.
But this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Coming up on Cronkite News, how to keep your information safe from hackers.
And why a college education is crucial in today's economy.
When a story comes in the morning, we're out the door as fast as we can go.
But it's also great to spend more time in communities and produce projects.
From the borderlands to the cities, the reservations, and even the state capitol, we want to get to the heart of the matter.
When the lights come on in the studio, we know our hard work is about to pay off.
We love what we do here at Cronkite News.
We're proud to tell the stories of our state.
Now more than ever, it's important to have a trusted news source, and that's Cronkite News.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in! Arizona State wins! Heaving one deep, and it is caught! Jalen Strong! Do you believe
Equifax breach has affected millions of people, and scammers aren't stopping there. Reporter Mia Atkins found out how they're continuing to obtain personal information and what you can do to try and prevent it.
Equifax is one of 3 major consumer credit reporting agencies. The company says people's names, credit card information, social security numbers, and other personal information has been accessed by the hackers this summer. They're just starting to notify people as to whether their information was compromised.
Stephanie Netherwood is one of millions of people who have been affected by a data breach. She doesn't yet know if her information was again compromised by the latest breach of Equifax. Netherwood doesn't want to have to go through the process again.
It took about 2 weeks of my life, and it was very stressful, very scary, and that was nothing compared to what this is.
Netherwood and her husband Joe have taken the necessary precautions to keep themselves safe, but are concerned for those close to them.
I'm really worried about my nieces and my nephews and young people, because they need to buy houses, they need to buy cars, they need to have credit cards. And this is going to follow them around for the rest of their lives.
Tyler Allen, a local attorney, believes the scammers will take advantage of this latest breach to pose as credit agency employees to get more personal information.
Hey, we're from Equifax, or we are from some type of credit monitoring system. Give us your information. We think you've been breached. We're here to help.
There are places to get reliable information about how to handle issues like these. Michael Kokenauer, president and CEO of IT Synergy, hosts a webinar once a month. This month, he talked about Equifax.
And we're talking about 143 million records. And so this is potentially hundreds of millions of dollars worth of data on the black market. Once that stuff starts to get sold, then it gets into the hands of a wider criminal community. Who knows what they might do with that?
Netherwood is concerned that the people who are supposed to watch for your credit are the very ones who were hacked this time.
They are the ones who are supposed to collect and keep it safe. And again, they just let it walk out the door.
Equifax has announced they will waive all fees until November 21st for people who want to freeze their credit files. In addition, those we spoke to recommend you secure your information by checking your own credit report, keep an eye on your bank accounts for unusual activity, and don't give out any personal information over the phone or email. In the Broadcast Center, Mia Atkins, Cronkite News.
Millennials joining the workforce need a college degree now more than ever. And Kiriko Marinier attended SRP's Economic Forecast Breakfast to see what economists have to say about the importance of going past the high school diploma.
Our biggest challenge, I'm often asked, what is the single biggest? It's not the debt. It's not global warming. It's not interest rates.
Rather, Todd Buchholz, former White House economic advisor and one of the keynote speakers of this morning's Economic Forecast Breakfast, says education is the biggest challenge to the future of the economy.
If you don't have at least a high school education in this globalized economy, you are competing with the last peasant in Mongolia who yoked a yak to a plow. You're probably competing against the yak.
Dr. Maria Harper-Marinick, Chancellor of the Maricopa County College District, stresses that while high school diplomas are necessary, they are no longer sufficient.
There are not only specific skills, technical skills required, but an expectation that someone knows how to think critically, and someone knows how to work in teams, and someone knows how to communicate and write and speak, and many skills that would develop through access to post-secondary education.
President and CEO of the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, Chris Camacho, agrees that education is crucial to teaching the next generation of innovators.
Focus on talent and education and really the disposition of how we educate our citizens is going to lead to dramatic economic performance.
He says that Phoenix has been a testing ground of disruptive technologies like driverless cars and wearable technology. In Scottsdale, and Kiriko Marinier, Cronkite News.
Camacho also says that the innovative talent of the incoming workforce will help bring big businesses such as Amazon to the state.
We've seen countless images of cars trapped in flooded streets after Hurricanes Harvey and Irma.
And now those cars could be making their way to the desert. Coming up on Cronkite News, how to make sure you're not buying a flood-damaged car.
And current temperatures and your full 7-day forecast coming up next.
Tickets are now available for the annual Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism Luncheon, held Thursday, October 19th at the Sheraton Grand Phoenix. Join media industry and community leaders in honoring award-winning co-anchors and co-managing editors of the PBS NewsHour, Judy Woodruff and the late Gwen Ifill. To learn more or to purchase tickets, call 602-496-0482 or visit cronkite.asu.edu/luncheon.
This fall.
I'm so excited!
What? From the inspiring to the amazing.
You're in the presence of history.
The compelling.
He said, "Welcome home." It was just a powerful moment.
To the astounding.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
And from the breathtaking.
This is real.
A journey to Mars.
To the electrifying.
We're going to change the world.
All this and more. All this fall.
Oh my God!
The first day of fall is just over a week away, and we're finally getting a taste of that cooler weather.
Holly Bach joins us in the Weather Center. Holly, are those cool temperatures here to stay?
You know, I think they might be, Blakely. We can see temperatures at 97 degrees here in Phoenix today, which is a bit on the warm side, but there were some winds out there that made it feel a little cooler. Now, looking into our state of Arizona, we can see temperatures were a little cooler up north, 70 in the Grand Canyon, Flagstaff at 66, and Show Low at 73. Now, our temperatures here in the valley are still warm. We can see 90s pretty much all across the valley, with 91 in Cave Creek, 95 in Scottsdale, and 97 here in Phoenix. However, these will be going down. We'll see a slight decrease in these temperatures around 5 p.m. They will go down to mid-80s, 89 in Phoenix, 87 in Scottsdale, and 82 in Cave Creek. Now going into our weekend, we're going to see temperatures a little bit below 100 degrees, which will be really nice. Lows in the mid-70s. And going into Thursday, we're going to see temperatures around 91 degrees, which is very good. Lows in the mid-60s. And I'm Holly Bach, live from the Weather Center.
If you're looking to purchase a used car within the next few months, you could be sold a vehicle that was damaged in the recent natural disasters. Cronkite News reporter Bailey Moore has more on what to look for to avoid getting scammed.
Purchasing a new vehicle can be scary, especially if you don't know what to look for. Used car deceit increases significantly after natural disasters, especially in places that don't know what to look for, such as Arizona.
I purchased a 96 Nissan Pathfinder for $2,000 with a fairly little list of issues that were disclosed to me by the owner. And then as I began to kind of have the vehicle and fix those issues, I discovered significantly more issues than were disclosed to me. I replaced the taillights, drained probably about 5 gallons of water from my car between the two taillights.
Hubner is just one of many who have gotten scammed while purchasing a used vehicle. Used car lots are also a target for deceiving vehicles, especially after a large storm.
Understanding there's hurricanes and car accidents on an everyday situation, we have a company, it's called Carfax, and what we do is we actually put the serial number in the computer, and it allows us to spit out all the items that happened to that car. Unfortunately, the dealership is a big target, so use that Carfax. It's 100% bulletproof.
At Wright Honda in Scottsdale, Fleet Director Gary Kravitz is aware that these next few months will bring a heavy influx of well-camouflaged vehicles that were flooded in the recent storms.
You have to be smart as a dealer. Obviously, we have 400 used cars going through our dealership, and we do a pretty rigorous walkthrough. We put the car on the hoist, we go in it, we smell it. We try to really protect the dealership. Again, we want to be honest, just like hopefully the consumer is honest.
And be sure to have a mechanic you trust check the car for signs of water damage before you buy. In Phoenix, Bailey Moore, Cronkite News.
One other tip, be prepared to walk away from the deal if things smell fishy. Literally, a flood-damaged car might smell of mold or mildew. On average, just about 50,000 people get on the light rail each weekday.
But the city of Phoenix is hoping to increase those numbers. Coming up on Cronkite News, how Transportation 2050 can make the Valley Metro system accessible to even more people.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
Human beings are a curious bunch.
What are we going to see when we get really close?
Wow. Oh my God, absolutely spectacular.
We are at a remarkable moment.
Yes.
We're going farther than any exploration ever has.
Changes are coming to public transportation here in Phoenix. Changes that could help make it more user-friendly. Cronkite News reporter Tatum Hubble got some insight into the future.
Transportation 2050 is a 35-year plan in the city of Phoenix to advance transportation in the future. It is funded by taxpayers and improvements are already underway, including extending hours of use and making it easier for people with disabilities to ride.
Currently under T2050, it was able to fund a new platform on the light rail line at 50th Street, and that's going to directly serve Ability 360.
Jacoby said that their main goal is to get people where they need to go faster.
Thanks to the City of Phoenix taxpayers, light rail routes are being improved and busing hours are being extended.
Two of our most ridden routes are going to be have expanded frequency in October, and that's Thomas and Camelback route. They're very, very well ridden routes.
Riders are already noticing the improvements.
I ride the light rail probably about a couple times a week. I go from Mesa all the way to the end in Phoenix on 19th and Dunlap. I like that it gets me where I'm going a lot faster.
The city says there's already an increase in riders due to the recent changes. In Phoenix, Tatum Hubble, Cronkite News.
Make sure to check out valleymetro.org or download their app to keep up with your ride.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, how neuroimaging helps figure out the way the brain impacts self-control. And attention foodies, Arizona Restaurant Week is coming up. That's the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour, the Vietnam War. I sit down with filmmakers Ken Burns and Lynn Novick to discuss their new landmark documentary, Thursday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Friendship Village Tempe, a retirement community for over 30 years, offers independent living with residency options, lifelong learning classes, as well as continuing care. Information at friendshipvillageaz.com.
Next time on The Coroner.
There's a big dance festival tonight, which I'm being dragged to.
Jane unexpectedly meets someone.
Because you don't dance doesn't mean you can't.
But her romance